Here it will be. Oh, the questions are coming in. The questions are coming in. Oh, I'm going to have to put that down. It's vibrating in my hand. So this year it's April 18th, Monday. We have till midnight. So those corporates, those K1s, are going to have to wait. And now that I got on the subject of K1s, some of you that have investments, if you get statements from Fidelity this year, well, Fidelity's not the only one. They're just who I have to do with this year. Fidelity's, their 1099Rs and some of the K1s from several other entities, they're running late this year and they're slowing things up too. So that's why I hate extending. It just makes everybody wait, and I don't like to do that. But this year, corporates we're due March 15th, and we made it, Todd. Not only did we make it, we got done 3 hours early. We were standing there at 9 o'clock 9 o'clock p.m. at night with nothing to do. Last year, we were filing till literally 10 minutes to 12. I am an ERO. I'm an electronic return originator. So I can file right up until midnight. As long as it's got that timestamp on it, you're good to go. We were 3 hours. We actually got to bed at 11:30 that night. I didn't know what that felt like. I actually got sleep, which is rare in tax season. So I want to thank all of you that were praying for us. Now, while I'm on the subject of corporates, I want to bring this up. Next year, we have a change in the schedule. Corporations, C Corps, those of you out there listening know whether you have a C Corp, a C, the letter C, or an S Corp, the letter S. You know what you have. C Corps, C Corporations, because they do not have to file a K1. It's basically a C Corporation is a self-contained entity. It pays its own taxes. Once it files its tax, it's just like an individual filing a 1040. Once it files its tax return, it either owes money, or it doesn't owe any money, or it gets a refund. If it paid estimated taxes throughout the year, it's done. There's no further reporting to any shareholders or stockholders or members or partners, anything like that. They're done. However, you have the S Corporation, which issues a K1. And people don't understand this. I tell them, think of a K1 as a 1099 or think of it as a W-2. There's a lot of information on there, your income as a member of this corporation or whatever your title is. Some people choose to call themselves members. Other people do the more traditional thing, president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, whatever, vice president of looking out the window, whatever your title is. Exactly. What's your title here? Vice president. I knew I got that from somewhere. So they get that K1. Partnerships, 1065s, you partnership filers, you know who you are. 1065s are due April 15th, April 18th this year, along with the 1040. That's always been a rub because, and it's really bothered a lot of people, and people have been asking for that to be changed because partnerships generate a K1 too to the partners. And there's a lot of partnerships up there. You'd be shocked. Even very big companies are partnerships. A lot of your largest CPA firms and accounting firms and law firms are partnerships. By the very nature of their structure, they are a partnership when they take on a new partner. And if you've ever heard anybody say, I'm finally a partner in my firm, that's because they've been with the firm however long enough to now be a partner. And they get a cut of the profits. Or they get to pay in the loss. It goes both ways. Usually it's a profit, and they are now, they've arrived. If you're a full partner, especially. So partnership returns were due at the same time as 1040s, and it always caused a lot of confusion and a lot of problems because people would have to extend because the K1 wasn't ready, or the K1 wasn't ready in time, or the partnership had to extend their tax return. So here you've got a partnership extending. Now the individuals have to extend because they've got nothing to report. And the IRS always understood this, and it was always a problem. So now that has all changed this year. And the reason I'm bringing it up now is because people are creatures of habit. I don't know any other way to say it. They're creatures of habit. We have noticed over the years that people come to get their tax returns done the same day. I've had people literally every year, you look back at the calendar, the first week of February, they come in. The second week of February. I would say 80% of our people come in the same time every year, or the same thereabouts, the same year. Why? Because typically they're where they work gives their W-2s out at the same time every year. It's just the pattern they're in, it's the flow they're in, it works, it's fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just giving everybody a heads up that next year there's going to be a change, and it's going to catch a lot of people off guard, and if they don't have a hold of it now, it's already April. Really, for as far as we're concerned, we're already talking about extending people. I know it's March 19th, but in our minds, we're already shooting for April. This quarter is over in 12 days. So I'm giving people heads up now. There's a law, there's a little piece of legislation that just got passed. And Canyon, what was that? My assistant here was looking that up. House Bill H.R. 3236 and the partner bill H.R. 2353. But H.R. 3262, for those of you that don't know, is called the Surface Transportation and Veterans Healthcare Choice Improvement Act. Okay, I'm going to repeat that now. I want you to ponder this. Let me look that again. My assistant here has already pulled all this information up on the internet. He's fabulous. Surface Transportation and Veterans Healthcare Choice Improvement Act of 2015. Now, when the government talks about, thank you, Kenyon. When the government talks about surface transportation, that's a highly technical word for roads. Okay, surface transportation is roads. So they have a bill that's for roads and veterans health care choice improvement. And that little, let me finish this up before we take a break. Todd's here ready to just go to that break. Let's just wait a minute. I want to wrap this up. That little piece of legislation is a real gem. It goes with the highway appropriation bill. It's a $305 billion bill. A billion here and a billion there. Pretty soon you're talking about real money. So in this bill that's about surface transportation and veterans healthcare choices is a law, and I read it last night, by the way. I pulled this up and read it. It's huge. There's stuff in there. There's stuff in there about mortgages. There's stuff in there about, it's unbelievable. They got it all. It's a buffet. There is everything in this bill you could imagine. And the bill was actually Representative, he's the Republican from Pennsylvania, Bill Schuster, introduced the bill. In May, it got fast-tracked, it got signed in July, and in October, Obama signed it. So whatever was in this bill, they wanted to get it through pretty quick, because it passed House and Senate, and it had a signature from the president on it. So this $305 billion bill, in it, the filing date for partnerships is now going to be March 15th. And I've got a whole schedule here, which if you want it, please feel free to send me an email and I can send you a copy of it. I've got a whole schedule here. Partnerships are now due March 15th, and if you extend them, the final date is September 15th. S corporations will remain March 15th, and if you extend them, it's September 15th. C corporations will now move to April 15th. This is huge. This is going to change people's schedules, and if they're caught off guard, especially our partnerships, we have a lot of partnerships. Now, I'm going to be all over this, and all of my people are going to be getting emails. We're going to be notifying them. We're going to be stepping up their bookkeeping. We're going to be doing a lot, because 30 days in the middle of tax season is a long, long time. It's an eternity. So when I get back, let's take our break, Todd. When I get back, we're going to talk about small businesses. I've gotten some emails with some questions about small businesses. David, I have a few rental houses. Do I need to start an LLC? Reasons for and against, and a few accounting questions. We're going to get into that. But okay, here's a question when I come back. What is bigger than a billion? What is bigger than a trillion? This is Gilbert Talks Taxes right here on WCAB 590 AM.
Suffering from numbness in your feet, leg cramping, pain when you walk, difficulty sleeping from leg and foot discomfort? Well, you need to see Dr. Jerry Gross at Foot and Ankle Center of the Carolinas. Your feet don't have to hurt. Call 245-6405 today.
People say to me all the time, Gilbert, your hair looks fabulous. How do you do it? The answer is simple. Robin Saunders at RSL Salon, 279 Shiloh Road in Forest City. Now, anyone that can make you look this fabulous is only available by appointment. So you've got to call Robin at 289-9110 and tell her you want to look as fabulous as Gilbert. RSL Salon also does gel nails. If you need a pedicure, shellac, or gel nails, call Emily at 447-3524 and she will fix you right up. That is RSL Salon at 279 Shiloh Road in Forest City. You can call Robin at 289-9110 or Emily at 447-3524 because everyone deserves to look fabulous.
What can I say about Cafe at the Mall, Cafe to Go, and 10 North Trade Cafe Bakery that can do them justice? The cakes, fresh baked breads, sandwiches, and salads, everything is delicious and perfect. Whether it's sit-down dining, lunch on the run, or catering for any occasion, Cafe at the Mall, Cafe to Go, or 10 North Trade Cafe Bakery is the place to go. Stop in at Cafe at the Mall, Cafe to Go, and 10 North Trade Cafe Bakery and mention Gilbert Talks Taxes and get a free cranberry oatmeal cookie, the official cookie of Gilbert Talks Taxes.
Welcome back. This is Gilbert Talks Taxes right here, WCAB 590 AM. I didn't say it. Todd, you should have been on me. I didn't say it because taxation with representation has not been such a good idea either. And it has not, as we see in the Surface Transportation and Veterans Health Care Choice Improvement Act of 2015. Todd was there looking up the law, and there's all kinds of stuff in there. So the question before I left, and again, let me promote myself a little bit here. If you have any questions, you can go to gilberttalkstaxes.com. There is a contact us. Click on the link, fill it out, send it to me. It comes right to me. You can call me. My phone is 828-289-9300. I have two offices, one in Tryon, one right here in Rutherfordton. You can call me here for the next 40 minutes at the station at 287-3356. The question before the break was, what is bigger than a billion? What is bigger than a trillion? And no, Canyon, it was not a zillion. Zillion is not even a word. Billion, people ask me, I looked this up because I get asked a lot, who said a billion here, a billion there? Pretty soon you're talking about real money. A person said that. It wasn't me. That was actually said. I grew up in Illinois. I grew up on the west side of Chicago and on the western suburb, on the suburb side of Chicago. And we had a senator when I grew up. He was a very colorful figure. I remember him as a child. His name was Everett Dirksen, and he passed away in 1969. And I remember him saying this in 1968. I was about 9 years old. And this caused a media firestorm when he said it, because back then $1 billion was a lot of money. We didn't have billionaires, and we didn't have billionaires running for president. I mean, the notion of somebody being worth $100 billion back then, if somebody was worth $10 million, that was huge. I mean, our federal budget was still in the millions back then, and it was starting to creep up into the billions and becoming $1 billion budget. That was 1968. He was actually first a congressman. I always thought he was a congressman, but I looked it up. He was a congressman. He was a career politician. He was a good guy. We have a lot of fond memories. He's back from that era when you really believed your politicians were honest and really cared for you, back when. And he was a nice guy, Senator Everett Dirksen. If you ever get a chance to research him, he's one of those just colorful guys. He said a lot of really funny things, and deep, profound things. He was kind of a Mark Twain kind of a man, and actually wrote a book and won an award for his sayings. And when he said $1 billion here and $1 billion there, and pretty soon you're talking about real money. So I was looking it up, and I thought, that's interesting. We've got this bill that has everything in it, including the kitchen sink, $305 billion, and that's just one bill of all the many, many, many that are going to be passed. So I said, well, what's bigger than $1 trillion? Now, $1 billion is, and I learned one thing, $1 million, $1 billion, and all these other numbers in the United States is different than in Europe. In Europe, they have a different measurement. They actually have 3 more zeros after it. I don't know why, but whatever. $1 billion here is $1 million million, 10 to the 9th power. $1 trillion is $1 million million million, 10 to the 12th power. A quintillion, that's the next number, quintillion. That's what it is. It's not zillion, and it's not frillion, and it's not Google. A quintillion is 10 to the 18th power, million, 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 million. A sestillion is 10 to the 21st power, 6 millions, a million, 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 million. And I really believe that if our God doesn't come back soon, if the Lord tarries and we're still here, I really believe that one day my granddaughter or somebody from her generation is going to be standing on the Congress floor saying, a quintillion here and a quintillion there, and pretty soon you're talking about real money. Let's get back to talking about business. David sent me a question. Rental houses. Do I need to start an LLC? Now, let me, right there, and it's a very good question, David. That is a question that I get probably, not just, not the rental houses part, about any business. Should I start an LLC? Really, your question is, and this is a little bit more just a matter of semantics. The question is, should you incorporate? An LLC is a type of corporation. It is not a tax return. A lot of people come to my office, and new customers, and I say to them, great, can I see last year's tax return? Did you do a tax return? What tax return did you do? They said, I did an LLC tax return. No, there is no LLC tax return. An LLC can be a partnership. An LLC can be an S corporation. LLC is limited liability corporation. It's actually a structure, and you're seeking that structure. It's how you create the organization. You file articles of organization with the Secretary of State instead of articles of incorporation. Now, these are subtle differences, and to most people, they really don't matter. Whoever's advising you can sit down and ask you a few questions. I have a little questionnaire that I go through, and I help people decide what the best structure for them is. Are you going to have family members involved in this? Are you going to have shares? Meaning, are you going to start a corporation and have, you can have as many shares as you want. You're allowed, they're free to start. You can have 1 million shares, you can have 1 billion shares. You can have a quintillion shares. Are you going to divide shares, give them away? Does this thing have the potential of being really big one day? We have to think through, because decisions you make today can affect, 5, 6, 7 years down the road. And we can change structure. You can close one thing and then open up another thing. But if you just take a few minutes to think things through, it'll ease transition later. If you just have a few rental houses, you're making some supplemental income, you enjoy what you're doing, you don't plan on growing much, that's one thing. Should you just stay a sole proprietor? I've talked on this show a lot about the tax advantages of being a sole proprietor. We were at the IRS forum last summer, my wife and I, and there was two high-level technical service people from the IRS spoke. They gave a presentation on Schedule C. Schedule C is the page in your 1040 tax return if you're a sole proprietor. And there are people that have 5 Schedule Cs. They have 5 little businesses they run out of their house. They may sell something on eBay, they may manage properties, they may buy and sell homes, whatever. And they're doing it as a sole proprietor. And the man at the IRS forum said that sole proprietors have huge tax advantages, huge write-offs that corporations are not allowed. And he said it's probably one of the, as a matter of fact, his words were, Schedule C and sole proprietor may be one of the last tax shelters that the IRS has not clamped down on yet because of some of the things that you're allowed to do. It's not that you're allowed to do anything wrong, it's just the structure of it lets you write off a lot of things. You're sole proprietor, you're it. And when people say, well, no, we need to incorporate, I remind them that the largest heavy metal equipment manufacturer in Germany for 300 years, the Krupp Corporation, was a sole proprietor. They did not incorporate until 1965. They were actually a sole proprietor. For hundreds of years, it was owned by one man, and he would pass ownership down to his son. And that was Krupp. They built all the big cannons during World War II, the Krupp Corporation. So it's got nothing to do with size. Where you're really big, so be a big corporation. There are a lot of big businesses that are sole proprietors. So, should you start a corporation is the question. The answer is, do you need the protection that a corporation offers you? If you have a lot of assets on the personal side, in other words, I own these rental properties, I may have a house that's already paid for, I may have inherited money, I may have other businesses, I may have a lot of rental homes. Now, the email I got says a few rental homes. I don't know what a few is. I had a man come and say, I got a few properties, and, he had about 4,000 acres. Okay, that's not a few properties. Well, it was a few properties. They were big, every one of them. So, you have a few rental homes. It just depends what you're trying to do. For tax advantage, for a favorable tax situation, it may or may not work for you. I would really, I would like to sit down and go through a 15-minute questionnaire with you and just, ask yourself these questions. But the big advantage of a corporation is you are separating your assets. You're putting those assets in the corporation, whether it's an LLC, a C Corp, an S Corp, whatever your structure is, or a partnership. Those assets now belong to that entity. They no longer belong to David. So if something happens in one of those properties, let's say, a person gets hurt, and they can prove that it was through your negligence, the owner's negligence, for whatever reason. I mean, the scenarios are endless, or anything happens, it protects you from them coming back and in a lawsuit or arbitration or something like that, coming back and attaching your personal property, taking your home, is what everybody always thinks about. They're going to come take my home. Well, there's worse things than them taking your home. If you've got a lot of assets, you've got family property, family land, things you want to protect, you can achieve that through a corporation. You can also achieve that through a trust. You can put things in trust. So there's a lot of different ways, and ultimately it boils down to, what do you want to do? So let's take a break here. We're a little bit overdue. Let's take a break, and we're going to come back, and Todd, help me to stay focused. We're going to get right into accounting for small businesses, computers, and software. Right. This is Gilbert Talks Taxes right here, WCAB 590 AM.
Hi there, this is Kimberly, and I'm here to tell you about Peterson's Auto Service and Detail Shop. As a woman, I'm often apprehensive about taking my car to a dirty service garage. But you can be assured that Peterson's, located at 478 Butler Road, Forest City, has an incredibly clean and safe environment where you get high-quality service at a great price. Peterson's was voted Rutherford County's best auto service 3 years in a row. So take your car to Peterson's for brakes, oil change, North Carolina inspection, tire rotation, headlight lens restoration, scratch removal, and meticulous auto detailing. That's Peterson's at 478 Butler Road, Forest City. You can call him for an appointment at 245-8889. Mention you heard Kimberly on WCAB 590 AM, and Peterson will give you $20 off a full detail or $5 off your next North Carolina inspection. Peterson's Auto Service and Detail Shop, a place I feel comfortable going to.
My closet keeps shrinking my clothes. And if you have that problem, take them to Nancy at Nancy's Alteration Shop at 610 South Broadway, Forest City. Call Nancy at 248-2345. Wear the clothes you like to wear. Let Nancy bring them back to life for you. That's Nancy's Alteration Shop, 610 South Broadway, Forest City.
I want to welcome Tim Schlabach and Foothills Photo Works, a professional hybrid commercial photography studio. If you're concerned about your social media image, listen up. Whether you're an executive, real estate broker, lawyer, or business owner, your image matters now more than ever. And you know first impressions count. Whether you need professional portraits, corporate headshots, images of your products or facility, aerial photography, and videos of buildings, boats, or large acreage, affordable professional help is here for you. Foothills Photo Works can create media that will help your prospects get to know you better and help you look your best. Foothills Photo Works is located at 362 Charlotte Road in Rutherford, North Carolina, but you need to call for an appointment. That number is 828-668-2304. Mention this ad and receive 15% off your first session. That's 828-668-2304. Foothills Photo Works, your media professionals.
We are back. Gilbert Talks Taxes. Right here, WCAB 590 AM, because taxation with representation has not been such a good idea either. Okay, so we're going to get into the question that I get a lot from small business. Now, when I'm talking about small business, I'm talking about real small business. I'm not talking about the government's version of small business. SBA says that a small business is any business that makes less than $14 million a year. That just... I've said it here 100 times. It just goes to show how out of touch they are. The average small business is a husband and wife or one-person business that's hiring 3 or 4 employees. A couple of them may be independent contractors. They work part-time. A couple of them are full-time. And they provide a service to the community that we all need, whether it's landscaping, carpentry, a hair salon, car repair, maintenance, cafe, I mean, the list goes on and on. But that is a real small business. That is the backbone of this country. So when these politicians are talking about making America great and doing all these things, I don't ever hear any of them talking about small business. And that really concerns me. The whole thing. So, anyway, get me going. Let me stay focused, Todd. You're supposed to keep me focused. Todd, thank you. Do you have an app on there that will help me stay focused? I am. Thank you so much. So when people come and sit before me, people thinking about starting a business, or people that already have a business going and they're kind of going through things, they ask me, one of the big questions I get is, what kind of software should I get? It's been asked 3 times this week. What kind of software should I get? What do you recommend I buy? I would tell you, all you need is a good spreadsheet. Really, all you need is a pencil and a piece of ledger paper. Because all I need to know, and all anybody needs to know, to create a profit and loss statement is just that, profit and loss. There's no mystery to this accounting. And you don't have to go to college to figure this out. You made $5,000, you spent $4,000, you made a $1,000 profit. That's a profit and loss statement right there. Yeah, there's a little more details to it, but that's it. So all you need the most on the most basic end is that. And I have people that show up with nothing more than 5 or 6 ledger pages, one showing me their income, one showing me their expenses, and the other one showing me their taxes, what taxes they paid, payroll taxes and things like that. And it's that simple, and it's that effective. The IRS does not care if you ever get audited, which, by the way, my audit, I talked about my audit a couple of weeks back. We got that audit, and the auditor called me and said everything was good. Remember I shared about the North Carolina audited one of my clients? They went back 3 years, 2012, 13, and 14. They audited him. He called me. He had one question about one thing, and we're going to go through that, and we're preparing that for him right now, and it was a simple one, and it was great. I was not concerned because I knew we hadn't done anything wrong. I knew we'd done everything actually very good, but this was a business that had thousands of little receipts, expenses, thousands of them. He's in the remodeling business, and and I'm not exaggerating, there were 1,000 receipts from Lowe's, and all of them for $30, $25, $60, not even big ticket receipts. They're just, you run to Lowe's to get this, and that, and it's $62. Well, there were 1,000 of those. And the man sent the letter saying, we're auditing these years, and I want this, and he gave a very clear list of what they want. And of course, the business owner calls me and he goes, what did we do wrong? Nothing. We didn't do anything wrong. You're being audited. Why are you being audited? I don't know. A lot of times it's random. Don't panic. The list tells you what they want. We just give them what they want. In this case, it took me 79 hours to pull it all together. Not just me, my staff, different people. We pulled it all together. We sent the auditor a package that was about 3 inches thick. We scanned everything. We had our spreadsheets and everything and gave it to him. So when you get audited, he's going to just want to know these things. So we just send it to him. Now, how we send it to him is when people are saying, should I get software? What software should I buy? You don't have to buy any software, but if you do, now let's say you're a little bit bigger and you don't want to track everything like my friend in the remodeling business, I keep his business on an Excel spreadsheet. That's a Microsoft product called Excel. It's a spreadsheet. You don't even have to buy Microsoft Office. It's Excel's part of Office. You get Word, PowerPoint. If you buy Office Professional or 360 or whatever, you might get Access, which is a database, and you might get some other things. Outlook doesn't come with it anymore. I heard now Outlook is a standalone product. It used to come with it. It was all a big bundled package. You used to get it for $200 to $300. Now Outlook alone costs you $300. Outlook is the email part of it, and it's a powerful email program. It does a lot. It's got its email with a calendar and a to-do list, and it really does a lot. I mean, big businesses use Outlook. The average small business doesn't need that and doesn't need to spend the money. You can actually get for free. And I'm leery about a lot of these things that are free on the internet. A lot of them are full of viruses. Be careful. But one that is safe that you can get is called Open Office. OpenOffice. Open Office. It's a product made by Apache. And more questions, Todd. More questions. Let me just put that down. It's a product made by Apache, and you go to www.openoffice.org. O-R-G, very important, .org. It is a safe, secure program. I recommend it. I have it because I've got clients that use it, and they'll bring me their spreadsheets in that format. The beauty of it is that it lets you save it in many formats. Lotus format, Excel format, CSV format, and if you work with these things, you'll learn all that. It's not hard, it's not complicated. You download it for free, and you open up their version of Excel is called Calc, C-A-L-C, as in calculate, and it's a spreadsheet, and it's a simple spreadsheet. But you say to me, Gilbert, I don't know how to use a spreadsheet. Go ahead, Todd, say that.
I don't know how to use a spreadsheet.
Todd, you don't have to worry about that. Just go to YouTube, and I am not exaggerating, there are 2.5 million videos on how to use Excel, how to use a spreadsheet. There are videos from the most basic one that tells you how to open the program and how to input a few numbers and how to save, to very complicated videos that show you how to use some of the most powerful features of it. And it's got some powerful features. Very, very powerful features where you can link spreadsheets and you can link data and share data over the internet. But if you're a small business person, all you need to do is track your income, track your expenses, and know how much money you made. And you can do that very simply for free. Don't spend any money. You're trying to make money, not spend money. And that's what I tell my people. Don't get caught up on the process, because you can actually make a career out of learning how to do this. Now, QuickBooks. I want to say this word about QuickBooks. We use QuickBooks. We use several other accounting programs. We use QuickBooks, and I have nothing against QuickBooks. I'm actually a reseller of QuickBooks. One of the prerequisites, if you want us to do your bookkeeping for you, we have Allison Kiris is a certified bookkeeper. That's what she does. She's a QuickBooks Pro advisor. She's certified through QuickBooks. So we use QuickBooks. The problem I have with QuickBooks, number one, is expensive. Number two, it's not very intuitive, meaning you have to learn QuickBooks. You have to learn how it works. It's got its little quirks. It's got its little things. You're too busy running a business. You're too busy doing what you're doing. You don't need to spend all this time learning QuickBooks, because I have seen people make bigger messes in QuickBooks than the benefit they derive from it. Now, QuickBooks does have a payroll module in it. If you have employees and you have to do payroll and pay taxes, unfortunately, and this is my opinion, I know I'm going to get a phone call from the Intuit people. They'll probably pull my license for this. And like I said, one of the prerequisites of working with me, if you want me to do your bookkeeping, is that you have the latest version of QuickBooks. I only work in the latest version. Now, if somebody wants me to evaluate their QuickBooks and they bring me an older version, I have a man who still uses 2003. Unfortunately, it's not supported, and all he just uses it for is a checkbook to keep his checkbook journal in, but that's about all you can do with it. But the requirement is that you use the latest version, which right now is 2016, and so I sell it. I'm a reseller of it so that I can go to their business, install it, make sure it's up and running, and either input data or update data or go ahead and put my data in to get it started. And I do that all as part of an accounting package. But I'm the first one to tell you, most businesses don't need it. It's really overkill, major overkill. If you're just writing a few checks a week, paying some stuff online, and you got 1 or 2 employees, 3 employees, you're wasting your money. And it's up to you can spend, depending on if you get point of sale or you get a specialty QuickBooks product or QuickBooks Online, which has still got way too many quirks for me to be comfortable with. It's a cloud-based QuickBooks. It's not there yet. It will be soon, but it's not just there yet. It's a lot of money, and you don't need to spend that money. You can spend half the money and get better results. So don't get hooked up on QuickBooks. And people bring me QuickBooks, they spend $299 on it. And whatever you do, please don't hack a QuickBooks off the internet. Every one of them is full of viruses, and it steals your data, and it does who knows what else. I've seen that way too many times. I ask them, where's your license? Oh, well, I don't have a license. Well, why not? Well, because I got it off the internet. I don't even open their computer. I don't even put a jump drive in the computer, because who knows what's going to be on it. Let's take a break, and let's come back, and I'm going to finish talking up about payroll taxes and small business taxes. This is Gilbert Talks Taxes right here, WCAB 590 AM.
A good sign is good business. Make your business stand out with a professional sign from DS Signs and Graphics. Successful companies all over the Carolinas are trusting Alex at DS Signs and Graphics. He has the artistic ability to present your company's image in the best light. Not only display signs, but DS Signs and Graphics can customize banners of all sizes. And if you need magnetic signs or window and vehicle lettering, Call on DS Signs and Graphics today. They offer a full line of signs and graphics for any event. 3D, sandblasted, storefront, and monument signs are part of the complete selection of quality signage. Professional signs and banners to fit any budget. Let your business stand out. Call DS Signs and Graphics today. That phone number is 286-4900. Or stop by the sign shop located on Main Street in downtown Spindale. And check the website for more suggestions at dssignsandgraphics.com.
I want to tell you about a little-known Rutherford County gem, Integrity Marble and Granite, located at 287 Shiloh Road in Forest City. They are the premier stone fabrication company in the western North Carolina region. They specialize in granite, marble, and natural stone, offering complete design and installation. Their design center and Kohler showroom features vanities, decorative accessories, bathroom, and kitchen fixtures. You do not have to go to Charlotte or Asheville for this kind of quality. We have it right here in Forest City. Stop in their showroom and browse their beautiful displays, or you can call 828-247-8801 for a free quote. You can also go to their website, www.integritymarblegranite.com, and look at the pictures and see samples of their available materials. Now, mention you heard it on Gilbert Talks Taxes, and they will give you $100 off any sink purchase. That's Integrity Marble and Granite.
This is Gilbert Talks Taxes, because taxation with representation has not been such a good idea either. During the break, we were talking about my Trump interview. I actually, one of my clients who has known Mr. Trump since 1987. You forget he wrote Art of the Deal back in 87, 88, 89. He's been around for a while. She has worked with him. She's a client of mine, and I asked her, I said, is there any way I can get a 5-minute interview with him? Well, she said if I went to Charlotte, I talked about this last week, if I went to Charlotte, she might be able to get me, he would be there, she would be there, and if we can get past his people, I might be able to get that. I wanted to ask him some questions about taxation. And then she said, well, he's going to be in Fayetteville. That's 5 hours away the day before corporates were due. There was just no way I had that kind of time in my schedule. And then she called me last week. He was in Hickory, and I had appointments that day. I was slammed. I said, please, is there any way I can get him on can I get him on the phone? So she tried. She hasn't yet, but I haven't given up. Last week I gave him an open invitation on the air because he's probably listening to the program, flying around.
Anonymous released his cell phone number. Just call him.
Just call him. No, I'd rather wait for him to call me. Let's do that. So, payroll taxes, small business. What I was going to say about QuickBooks that I didn't finish is QuickBooks has a good payroll entry module within the software that allows you to, it handles payroll very well. The only problem I have with it is they charge a lot for it. It's extra. That's the big thing I don't like about QuickBooks, is that everything's an extra charge. And it's a very invasive program that wants to take over your computer. It wants to dominate your computer. And it's got this sync manager thing, and what they want to do is QuickBooks is trying to make it where it's seamless, where QuickBooks goes to your bank account and gets the information, goes to your credit cards and gets the information, goes to wherever and gets the information, and it's supposed to save you time, and it's supposed to save you this. What my personal experience with it is it creates a mess. This had to have been written by CPAs who want to increase billable time, because it is just, if you don't set it up right and you don't do it right, it just makes a bigger mess. And I'm just not seeing the payoff there for most small businesses. It's got a great payroll module built into it, but it is expensive. For the price of their payroll module, you can have a much more professional payroll done by, and this is not a plug, these are all people I work with, but I'm not advocating any of them, but Paychecks and ADP. They do an excellent job. And what I like about ADP is you pick up the phone and you get an actual person if you have a problem, and you get an actual person here in the United States that is speaking a language you can understand. And I don't get that with Intuit. I just don't. The wait times are long, and you're outsourced to another country, and it's been a big waste of time. That's my only issue with it. If you're a small business and you only have 2 or 3 people that you're trying to do payroll for, you don't need to be spending this kind of money. It's almost like having another person on payroll. So there's a lot of online services, and you can do it yourself. Now, what taxes do you have to pay if you're a small business with payroll? The only thing you really got to do is their withholding. Oh, and this gets into the whole thing of, and I've only got 8 minutes left. This gets into the whole thing of what is a payroll employee and what is an independent contractor. A lot of small businesses, too many small businesses, will bring people on board. I don't want to use the word hire, because if they're an independent contractor, you didn't hire them. You contracted them. They say, I hired this guy. Okay, where's his W-2? Well, no, he doesn't get a W-2. He gets a 1099. He's an independent contractor. Well, then you didn't hire him. Oh, yes, I did. Well, no, you didn't. You don't hire an independent contractor. Not in the IRS Employment Securities Commission thinking of hiring. When you hire, you bring a person on board to work for you as an employee. There is actually a test of, and that's something that I go through with these owners. Is this person an independent contractor? Do you manage their time? Do you tell them what to do? Do you provide them with the tools, the equipment, and all the things they need? Do you transport them to the job? When they're at the job, do you tell them everything they have to do? That's an employee. And if the IRS questioned you or them, you would fail the test. They would be an employee. If you bring an independent contractor on board in your organization and they are really an employee, the IRS and you get audited, the IRS can come back and say you owe withholding, well, not withholding because that's their responsibility. You owe Social Security, Medicare, and FUTA, the federal unemployment tax, for those employees, and they can go back to the day you hired them, and you have to pay that money based on how much money you gave them. So you got to be careful what's an independent contractor and what is an employee. Okay, if you bring an employee on board, you've got to pay their FICA. Half of it gets 7.65 gets reduced from their payroll check. You as the employer match the same amount that you pay their matching. So when you're figuring out their payroll and their impact on your business,
News, I'm Melissa Vale.
Remember that. Did that go out? No. Remember that you've got to put that in the budget. Now their withholding is their money that you're withholding and mailing to the IRS and to North Carolina. And then I don't want to get into this because this is a whole topic, but if you're working in South Carolina or if you travel and you have people in other states, remember, you're supposed to separate. Let's say they go into South Carolina to do a job. They're there for 5 weeks. You're supposed to separate that withholding out from South Carolina, and you're supposed to pay South Carolina withholding, not North Carolina. You don't pay it twice, because a lot of people say, well, I got to pay that and that. No. Just in that state. And then when you give them their W-2, your accountant breaks that out, and then when that person files their tax return, they have to do a South Carolina return. The software makes it easy today. It's not hard to do, but just remember that is a prerequisite. You can't just pay them for North Carolina when they're performing work in another state. And now Tennessee's easy because there's no income tax in there, and so is Florida. But between here and there, you've got South Carolina and Georgia, Virginia, and they do West Virginia, and they do require this. Or anywhere you work, you've got only 10 states that don't have income tax. All the others do. So you got to be careful with that. But other than that, you just have that withholding, and you have to do that. Now, depending on the dollar amount, you have to give that money to the government either monthly or quarterly. Same thing with North Carolina or the state, either monthly or quarterly, depending on the number and how many employees you have. The IRS, you can actually mail it monthly and file a form called a 941 quarterly. Very simple. The 941 is just a reconciliation of what you gave them. You just write it down, add it up, and mail it off. And it's really not a lot of work. The FUTA at the end of the year is the federal unemployment tax. It's an additional unemployment tax. It kind of backs up the North Carolina, because you've got North Carolina. The other tax you're going to have to pay is North Carolina Employment Securities Commission, their unemployment. It's based on a percentage of if you've had a lot of employees collecting. If you've had no employees collecting, it starts you at a base of 2%, and it can go up as high as, I think it's 5.75. I'm drawing a blank on that right now. I think that's the highest limit, or 6.75. I may be confusing that with sales tax. But anyway, that's the highest it can be. And if you've never had any employee issues, it comes down and stays low. And it's your employee, it's the North Carolina ESC, Employment Securities Commission. And they're the ones, a lot of times, that'll audit you with your contractors and your employees. They're the ones, and then they'll report back what you've got going on, and then the federal government will swoop down on you too. But North Carolina Employment Securities Commission, I've had several audits with them. So that's pretty much it for your taxes. In North Carolina, the only other corporation tax you pay or business tax you pay is at the state level. If you're incorporated, then you have your annual report fee to the North Carolina Secretary of State. Partnerships, it's $200. Depending on the corporation you have, it's $20. If you pay it with your tax return, it's $25. Very minimal, and actually we're in a good state to have a business. There's not a lot of reporting. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. If you're a sole proprietor, you have none of that. Todd, we got 1 minute left. The last thing people ask me about that want to start a business is, and I get this question a lot, what kind of computer should I buy? Again, I get back to it. A ledger and a number 2 pencil. That's all you need. And it has a long battery life. Okay, so start there. You don't need any fancy piece of equipment. Do I need a tablet? Do I need a laptop? Do I need a this? Do I need a that? It just depends what's comfortable for you and what works for you. I don't really recommend one thing over another. If I'm talking to people and they're telling me they're out on the field a lot, I may recommend a little bit more of a rugged laptop if they take it with them. But other than that, keep it simple. You're supposed to be making money with your business, not spending money. If anybody's got any questions, give me a call. You can call me at 828-289-9300. I hope I answered all these questions. If I didn't, please send me another email. David, thank you. Diane, thank you. Everybody else that's emailed me, thank you. And this is Gilbert Talks Taxes. I'll be back next week, right here, WCAB 590 AM.
In the Paris bombings captured during a raid in Brussels Friday, ABC's Alex Marquardt is at the scene of the arrest in Brussels.
Gunshots rang out.